The 2022 midterms are coming up, and we have a big governor's race here in Texas. We have Beto O'Rourke going up against Governor Greg Abbott. Now, I'm here at UT Austin to ask Texas residents who they're going to be voting for and why. Let's go find out. Are you from here in Texas?
Yes.
Are you planning on voting at all in the 2022 midterms?
Yes.
Who do you plan on voting for?
Beto.
How come?
I love Beto. I don't know anything about politics, I'm sorry.
Well, you're gonna vote for Beto because you like him?
Yes.
Give me one of his policies that you like the most that has led you to want to vote for him.
Oh, shoot. I'm not into politics, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know anything.
No?
Mm-mm.
How come you're not voting for Greg Abbott then?
Because a lot of my friends, it's because a lot of my friends talk about Beto and they say how great he is, and I agree with my friends' ideals, so yeah. And they've explained it to me, I just forget.
Yeah, Beto.
You're really excited about Beto. You want to vote for him for governor. Talk to me about why that is.
I've again, I haven't brushed up before this particular thing. I like Beto.
But you will be voting for him for governor for the 2022 midterms.
Yes, absolutely.
Probably Beto.
Beto.
How come?
The abortion stuff.
I'm pretty socialist democratic, so I've always supported Democratic candidate. Honestly, I just want to push for Texas to be blue. I think overall, I'm not a particular fan of Beto overall, so there's not particular reasons, if that makes sense.
So you said you like Beto because of the abortion issue. Talk to me about why that's important to you.
I don't know. I just feel like women should have the choice to have an abortion.
I just wondered this from the man's perspective. Do you hope that abortion is also an option for women just in case you get a girl pregnant?
I mean, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
I'm an out-of-state student, but I do plan on voting for Beto, so yeah.
Yeah, same here.
How come you guys want to vote for Beto? Talk to me about it.
I'd rather not talk about it, but yeah, I'll just be voting, voicing my opinion, yeah.
Same.
Same?
Yeah.
Just one thing you guys like about Beto?
Beto.
How come?
Because I lean slightly Democratic, in terms of the political spectrum. So,
What is that big policy that Beto has put forth that you really like that captured your attention?
I'm not really sure, to be honest.
No?
No. I'm not the most political person on earth, but, he seems cool, and I don't like, I don't like Governor Abbott, so.
What would you say to people who say Beto O'Rourke wants to take away gun rights from Texans? Texas is big on guns. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't really care about guns, to be honest. So, it doesn't really affect me.
So if the governor decides no more guns in Texas, Beto decides that you'd be all for it?
I mean, yeah, sure.
So I'm an international student, so I won't particularly be voting. But if I could, I would be voting for Abbott. I just think that, he gets a lot of hate for stuff that's not particularly in his control. He's not the one who can really call the legislature to fix something. That's all the lieutenant governor. It's all his responsibility. He doesn't have the unilateral power for the pardons. So the office of governor of Texas is a lot weaker than in a lot of other states. So you can't expect him to, live up to be a governor like you would in the other states for the most part.
Talk to me about Abbott a little bit, because we've had a lot of support for Beto out here. Mm-hmm. What specifically do you like about Abbott over Beto?
I know Governor Abbott, so I want to be a physician. I know a few physicians. I've met some that he's appointed to the Texas Medical Board, and they've been very good people. So he's made some pretty good decisions over that, relatively speaking. And it's also that I really don't like Beto, right? He really comes off as hyperbolic, and he waits for something to go wrong, and then he goes all in on that with a super emotional spiel, which I really don't like. Like the way he did the Uvalde thing, I say, it's a tragedy. Of course, it's wrong, but you can't make everything in the state about just one thing, right? And I definitely don't support his ideas of gun buybacks and all of that, because if you don't know, the worst mass shooting in the United States history is perpetrated by the Army against the Lakota Sioux. They went to disarm the Native Americans and massacred just hundreds of people, women, children, and all that. So you can't completely trust the government to constantly, uphold your rights, right? You have to have a way to do that. And I'm pro civil rights. I gave a speech about Frederick Douglass and all that, and there's a very important quote from him. You know, a man's rights are found in 3 boxes: the jury box, the ballot box, and the cartridge box. So if all else fails, you have to have something, right?
Are you guys Texas residents?
Yeah,
Who are you guys voting for governor? Abbott or Beto?
Beto.
How come?
It's more like a family thing. Like they just fit more. I've been told by like people that he fits more with like my family's like, you know, it helps more like the people that my family are, like who they are, and like
immigrants or?
Yeah. I don't really know a lot of the stuff like he's doing and stuff. I just know that I've been told by people of my family that he's actually helping. I know the other side is something about gun rights and stuff. That's all I've heard, but I don't know. I don't really have an opinion on this.
I come from a very Hispanic family, and I know there's like a lot of prejudice against other candidates still, but I guess it's more like a family thing as well.
Have you looked into Beto personally at all before voting for him?
No, I haven't. I'm not very aware of political standards right now, but I will take a look at it.
But you will be voting for him?
Yes.
I'm voting for Greg Abbott.
How come?
Well, he just has I guess, what he believes and what he's fighting for matches me a little bit more. I'm Catholic, so his beliefs match mine, very similar.
What's one of the best policies that Greg Abbott has put forth that you agree with?
Well, I came from El Paso, so I would have to say immigration and just, gun rights as well.
Honestly, I'm not excited by either of them, but I am going to be voting for Beto this time.
For Beto? How come?
Yeah. It's a lot of different. It's very. Let me think about that for a little bit. I don't really have like a upfront answer for that because usually I tend to lean Republican. But I'm gonna be honest, I'm a big pothead, and I really want him to legalize weed. I am not a fan of Beto's gun policy things, and that's a huge thing that I'm worried about. I don't believe a lot of what either of them promised that they're going to be doing for the state. One side, I watched the debate. Greg Abbott was, I don't know, I feel like he has a lot of explaining to do for like why hasn't a lot of things been done. A lot of things go wrong in Texas, and then it only gets fixed when it goes wrong. And I think abortion should be legal in this state.
Gotcha. So for Beto, you said that you don't like his gun policy, but you would still be willing to vote for him. I mean, I know a lot of Texans do fear if Beto gets in that our gun rights will be severely restricted in Texas. What are your thoughts on that?
I do not believe that he's actually going to be able to get that through. I think the Supreme Court has a lot of checks that would be able to prevent that, and I do not think the people of Texas are going to really allow that to happen. I feel like Beto is uneducated on firearms. I think he says a lot of emotional standpoints, he does a lot of emotional arguments, and it does work. And honestly, somewhat worked on me a little bit. I am willing to budge when it comes to gun laws, and one thing that didn't sit right with me is that during the debate, they asked him well, will you confiscate the guns? All he managed to say is that I will protect the interests of the children. Okay, great. So that's like a little fishy to me.
I guess Abbott. I'm not that educated though.
No, not too sure?
No, yeah.
Why Abbott over Beto?
Like I said, I'm not educated at all. I know Abbott more than I know Beto, so.
Gotcha. Not sure about either of the policies though for the two?
No, I don't know anything.
Beto.
How come?
You know, after Uvalde and hearing everything that was happening, he was fighting for all the students, and I was really here for it.
So I've been asking people too that are pro Beto. A lot of Texans have issue with him because he is, anti-gun, and he has talked about taking more guns away from Texans. It's, this is Texas, right? We're big on our guns here. What are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on him potentially bringing in anti-gun policy?
I mean, like I said, with everything that happened back then, it's I think it's better to have an anti-gun policy, especially with people at such a young age being able to carry. Yeah.
Do you feel like gun-free zones are safer than zones with guns?
I do. I think that they're way safer than an area that has guns.
So what would you say to someone who says, okay, somebody who wants to go shoot up a crowd, for example, right? They would go to a gun-free zone, right? Because they know no one can defend themselves in that area. What would your response to that be?
That's a really good question.
But I guess that's the argument, right? Is how do you protect yourself from a criminal with a gun if you don't have a gun?
Yeah. I think that's where it's like the debate on like, should we have guns, should we not have guns? In my personal opinion, I don't think I would ever carry. If people want to carry, that's on them. But for me and like my family, we don't like hold guns or anywhere. Like it's not something that we do. Safety, yes, is important, but it's also like if it gets into the wrong hands, what do you do after that?
Gotcha. So Beto, anti-gun policy, that's why you're voting for him for governor.
Yes. For me, I'm not very into all that, so I have no clue. I'm registered to vote, but I'm probably just gonna I'm gonna bring that I'm probably gonna ask my parents and be like, what are y'all doing? What's y'all's opinions? And probably confide with them and figure it out.
Beto obviously has gained traction, but obviously Austin doesn't represent the greater part of Texas, so it's going to be hard for him still, and in the polls he's still running behind. And even if he were running ahead, we've already learned from the 2020 election what happened, or 2016, what polls may tell you. So